I always liked Batman as a kid, but he never really appealed to me as much as like Spider-Man or the Ninja Turtles. That wasn't until I actually played the Arkham games. These games really helped me to get into Batman, and even though I don't think that this is the best interpretation of the character, like a lot of people say he is, I still think he's alright. Also, I never actually beat these games as a child. They were very scary, okay? Anyway, the series began with Batman Arkham Asylum, and oh my was the banger. The combat, while not as refined as in later games, it is still pretty good. But the best part of Asylum is probably seeing the Asylum slowly descend into chaos through the course of the game. Then after Asylum came Arkham City, which mainly built upon what made Asylum so great by improving on things like traversal and combat and giving you a bigger map to run around, plus a fun, memorable story that isn't as good as people say it is, by the way. Origins was developed by a different studio, but somehow they managed to make the best story in the series. Same cannot be said about gameplay though. Like, it's alright, but it's not really as polished as City or even Asylum's, and the sound design made me realize how good Rocksteady is with their sound design. Just listen to this beat then, and then listen to the one from City. Now for the game that the video is actually about. I have mixed feelings on Arkham Knight. On one hand, it is one of my favorite games I've ever played, and then on the other, it's a bit of a mess. Let's start with gameplay, because that is truly the best part. The combat is perfected in this game. It just feels so smooth and it feels so satisfying. And they added some new mechanics, like being able to pick thugs up off the ground. Finally, being able to Batman is a great addition. Enemies have picked up a few new moves too, like the ability to charge at you or grab hold of you. There's also the introduction of new enemy types like brutes who can come with a bunch of different weapons or medics who can revive knocked out enemies and cover them in electricity somehow. Predator segments aren't as prominent this time around, but where they are present, they're really good. Like the movie studios when you have to team up with Robert to take out Harley Quinn's goons, or any of the Two-Face bank heists where you can go ape mode and knock them out as hard as you want until Two-Face turns off the alarms. And for the most divisive thing in this game, the Batmobile. I got a secret. You can't share this with anyone. I don't really mind the Batmobile here. I've actually grown to find the tank segments to be kind of fun, but I can understand why you think otherwise. It mainly consists of shooting unmanned tanks while mindlessly moving out of the way of these blue lines. These aren't as boring as the stealth segments where you sneak around in a tank to shoot even bigger tanks. It's just not fun. It's so boring. I don't really think a tank is really appropriate for Batman anyway. I prefer my Batmobile to be a car with some little gadgets, not an indestructible car that will demolish anything in its way. And at least it makes traversal a bit more fun, even if I find myself mainly gliding around the city than driving the Batmobile. The side missions in this game, for the most part, are really enjoyable, even if they can be a bit repetitive or kind of bad at times. The highlights to me are the Two-Face, Pig, and Penguin missions. And if we count DLC, the Mr. Freeze mission is probably the best in the series, in my opinion. Oh my goodness, this game's story is so stupid and insane. I can actually go on for hours with all my problems with it. Like how stupid the villains are. Like how there's no setup in the previous games for the Arkham Knight's identity. Or how Joker's inclusion makes no sense. Or how stupid Batman is. I think that the best part of this game's story is the voice acting, because everybody really feels like they're giving it their all. And there's a lot of solid character moments too. Last of all, I'd just like to mention that this game looks really good and it's very pretty. To conclude this video, all I have to say to you Arkham Knight haters is you suck. But yeah, I also kind of agree. This game is dumb. And no, I've not played the Game End Squad game. Bye bye.